Everything is good. All right, David, I'm going to let you take it away now, please.
Well, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is enjoying their evening, and hopefully, you're looking forward to this presentation by Mike Strebler on a very small line called the Pristine Line. So, Mike will add a little bit more to that as he goes through this evening, but I'm glad to see everyone here tonight, and hopefully, we learn a lot about uh, a line of glass that I think we hear the term, but do we really know what the pristine line entails? So Mike's going to get share some information with us tonight, and Julie, I'll be back on at the evening to talk about the April program.
Excellent. Thank you, David. So, Mike, take it away. We're looking forward to your presentation. You're muted, Mike.
There we go. Hang on, I gotta find some. Okay. I want to thank David for doing such a good job running the Zoom program for us. So when sometime back he asked me if I'd do a program, and I gladly agreed. Then at the last Zoom and Tell session, he announced I'd be doing the next program on Pristine, and I started to panic. But I've done limited programs before, so I figured I can do this. But then I started researching and saw how massive the Pristine line is and came to the following. I was going to tell David that I had a PowerPoint, but the dog ate it. But he knows I don't have a dog. Then thought about saying I forgot about the program, but he called me each morning and evening for the last week, so I knew that one wouldn't fly. And finally, I came up with an abbreviated program by saying, if you look at your collection and can identify each line, then everything else must be pristine because it is such a massive and well-known line, but we just don't always recognize it. So the crowd deserves better than this intro. So I do have a program for us tonight, and I will try and go quickly because as the line is big, so is the program. I'll try and get through in 20 minutes. I know Les will time me. So 8:23 Les. And let's see. Sharing is not turned on. I'm requesting sharing, Julie.
Now you can share.
Let me see what I got here to share. Let's see. I think it's this one. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. We'll start out with the Pristine line. And I'm going to tell you first about the resources for researching the Pristine line. I started with crystal ball articles, and I drew heavily on Mark Nye's program or his works from the crystal ball issues. And here are the issues 163, 1986, and 165, 1987. So Mark did a lot of this work that I'm taking credit for tonight. Um, I'll say this, and the research items that we have, Cambridge did not issue a new catalog of their products each year, and I know a lot of us already know that. But I thought I would mention again. Their method was to issue a complete catalog occasionally, and then what they would do is keep their customers current, and their customers would have been retail outlets, with the issuance of something called circular letters. Well, so if a product addition was involved, a circular letter would be supplemented by additional catalog pages. So they would send out a circular letter with catalog pages, and then the customer could insert it into their catalog. These are the resources that I used from the virtual library. On the web, there's called a 35 to 37 general catalog, which is actually not a Cambridge catalog, but is assembled from pieces of research and put together on the website as that. Then there's a 38 and 39, 1938-39, which again is assembled pieces. And then we get to 1940, what they call it the 40 to 47 catalog, when actually it is the what we refer to it is the 1940 catalog. And the 1940 catalog, has a lot of stuff in it. There's a 48 catalog that's very small, and then a 49 to 53 catalog, which again has a lot of pristine stuff. And finally, there's a 1956 catalog, which I enjoy a lot because a lot of the pristine items are in there. So what is a pristine line? In 1937, China Glass and Lamps described it as the pristine glassware is based on simplicity in design and offers opportunity for beautiful cuttings and etchings. It was covered by 4 patents. The earliest was January 1937. So pristine, it was introduced in 1937, which is way back, one of the early lines. We tend to think of it as a later line, but it is earlier. The stem associated with the pristine line, which I have an illustration off to the side there, it was never patented. So it is possible that there are lookalikes out there, and they would have preceded the pristine line and perhaps even patented by another glass house. Whoops. But based on Cambridge catalogs and price lists, we can reach the conclusion that the Cambridge Pristine line was introduced in 1937, and it lasted until the plant closing in 1958, which would be 21 years that Pristine was in production. In the 35 to 37 compilation, which is the first time we see Pristine, this is the first page of it over here. I have numbers of pages. Those are the ones that I counted in this item. And in 35 to 37, you can see that it looks like they had a pretty full stemware line going by that time. And here's an actual picture of the pristine stem. We're still in 1935 to 37, and if you look at this, you'll see candlesticks and vases. Here's a picture of an actual vase. A lot of these vases I don't ever recall seeing. Some of these you'll notice that we still see some of them later on. And also, I'll throw this in. They introduced something called table architecture. We rarely see table architecture. Here's the label for it. I don't know that anybody's ever actually seen the label. And down here is a pair of actual candlesticks or bookends candlesticks. These are candlesticks. Now, I found a pair of them on eBay that have a little sticker on it that says made in Portugal. So someone has reproduced this. I know the Metropolitan Museum of Art reproduced them, but I don't know about the made in Portugal thing, so watch out for that. Anyway, some of this stuff I've just never seen around. We get to 38-39, and we start seeing some of the bowl-looking shapes that Cambridge did in the Pristine line. This triangular butter dish is kind of an interesting piece. This is the first page if you look at go on to the website for 38-39 compilation. And during 1938, pristine blanks were extensively used for cuttings. And included among those cuttings on the pristine blanks were, and here's a whole list of them, And these were great cuttings. As Jack likes to say, this was the best period that Cambridge had for cuttings. So all these items, all these cuttings were noted as being on pristine blanks. This is a marketing bowl that Cambridge used for their cuttings, and it's on a pristine bowl. And this is one of a cutting that is on pristine, and I just pulled these out of my collection. I took a picture out of my collection. Here's a big old Belfast plate. Here's the pristine ivy bowl, and there's the round foot that we could always identify with pristine, a big thick round foot. And here's the bowl with these pristine handles, which is one, two, about a 3-tier handle that we always see in pristine. Down below, we see the pristine candlesticks. And example pages from 38 and 39. We start seeing the introduction of very large pieces. And also over here, we see the same page that was used back in when it was introduced in 37. They just carried it forward. Here's some more example pieces. These are the square candlesticks, which we still see quite often. Here's a picture of 3 sets of them over here. And I want to mention the round line, which was around in 1938 and 39. But if you look at the round line, it sure looks a lot like the pristine that we know towards the end. So I think that the round line evolved into the pristine line. The 40 to 47 catalog, which we all refer to as the 40 catalog. Here's the cover of it. And there's an index. And the index has 10 pages on it, but Jack tells me there's actually 50 pages that have pristine items on them. The general catalog, the catalog was issued in 1940, and it devoted 8 pages to illustrations of pristine blanks. And by 1942, there were 6 additional pages that have been issued as supplements to the 40 catalog. But the period roughly covering 1942 to 1948 is one for which we have little documentation on what was happening at the Cambridge glass factory. And if you look at it, this is war years up to 45, and then they got back in 48, we start finding more materials. We did obtain price lists later that filled in some of this information, but 42 to 48, we don't see a lot of. But this would have been a really good time for pristine. But between 42 and 48, all mention of the line ceased. So nobody was talking about pristine during this period either. Although some of this line was not discontinued, it was only reduced and certain items remained available. So even though we don't have research materials on it, we know it was still being made from 42 to 48. But we don't know what portion of the pristine line remained in the catalog during the war years. This is from the 40 to 47 catalog. Again, we see that I didn't check it. This might be, it's a different page, but it's stemware, pristine stemware. And over here, I call it the big items page. We start seeing some of the bigger items. Pictures, the big bottle, a mixer, and the punch bowl. This is also from the 40 catalog, and one of my favorite pieces is the Cambridge apple. The stems come in green, red, and crystal. Some of these are etched. I've seen the apple with a purple flashing on it before, but that's Cambridge did not do that, but it still was a pretty cool piece. Now, the other thing on this page out of the 40 catalog, down here in the corner, there's two vases that have square feet. That is not something that we know Pristine to or associate with Pristine. It looks more like it's part of the square line. And in fact, some people call Pristine and Square cousins because of their simplicity in design. And here's the introduction of my favorite bowl. First time I've seen that. And this is my favorite bowl over here. And everybody can see the cal lilies are also part of Pristine. This bowl came in two sizes, an 11 and a 13, but I don't know that I've ever seen the 13. And again, we see some of the big plates that they had. And these little sets are kind of neat too, with the condiment set there. The 48 catalog, this was a real thin catalog. This is the cover, and this is one of the pages that came out of it. And this is, again, I'm referring to the research materials on the website. Again, out of the 48 catalog. You can see here's the P101. First time I've actually seen that in the catalog, and there's the calla lily. Then we get to the 4953 catalog, which again says it's 12 pages, but Jack tells me there's a whole lot more in there. It was produced in June of 49 with additional pages added in August of 49. And then there were quite a bit of additions to to this catalog in the last half of 49 and early 50. And by 50, there were so many changes that they had to make a major revision to the index because they kept adding pages to the thing. So up to 1950, we started in 37, now we're in 50, and we've got this huge line going on. So that in October of 53, they also came out with a new price list for certain items. If you do look at the on the website for the 49 through 50 catalog, this is one that we feel is very complete. And items in this this catalog could have been introduced anytime going all the way back to 37. Let's see. Let's see. 4 pages of the June 49 Cambridge catalog were used to illustrate Pristine items, while the price list that accompanied the catalog indicates that a much larger line was available. So just because the catalog had a limited selection, the actual line that was being sold was much larger. And then they issued some more pages in August. And here's some example pages from 49 to 53. You can see they got very artsy here over on the left, where it says Pristine, and they started using a new kind of display. And over on the right, we see some of the big, down at the description is Big A bowls, because that's how I like to refer to them, that they are huge, 18 inches. And a lot of these are going to be used with Cambridge arms. These are some examples of the Big A bowls that are in my collection. Also some smaller ones. Cuttings. During 49 to 54, the Pristine blanks were used for a lot of cuttings. And the cuttings that are found on Pristine during this period are Harvest, Ivy, King Edward, Laurel Wreath, Silver Maple, and Thistle. Very popular cuttings that show up in this catalog. And again, we get back to the round line. And in the 49 to 53 catalog, there were a bunch of pieces from the round line that were also included as Pristine, but they kept the same numbers. So this was the page from the round line. And again, a lot of these moved on into Pristine and were part of the line, even though they kept round numbers. 56 general catalog. We call this the reopen period catalog. The yellow book here, they say it's 10 pages. This was the opening page in this catalog. You show the guy down here blowing. Again, fairly artsy and marketing for Cambridge. It remained the Pristine line remained a big part of the Cambridge line during the reopen period, primarily as an undecorated pattern. There were a few blanks that were used for engravings such as rondo, laurel wreath, harvest, and wedding rings. So this is in the reopen period that we see a lot of rondo and, well, actually all these we see a lot of. This is the ice tub, and you can see the pristine handle there, and this happens to be harvest on the cuttings. This is a punch bowl. I love this punch bowl. This is a page out of the catalog, and there is a ladle in this one. And I happened to find this entire punch set with the cups, the bowl, the underplate, and the ladle. So that's part of my collection. I will say this, as far as I know, this Pristine ladle is the only known or identified punch ladle other than tally ho. And we can, I'll take commentary on that if somebody knows differently. But as far as I know, the Pristine ladle is the only other one other than tally ho. Pristine in colors. There were a lot of things that showed up late in colors. You can see all the different colors here. There's milk, crown, Tahoe, ebony satin. Here's ebony, carmine. This ashtray set we see a lot of, and here's a blue horn. And there are also some strange items in Pristine, and I bought this bowl from someone at the glass stash because I just felt so bad for it that nobody wanted it. And I thought, well, somebody hacked it up, but it could fit into my collection. And later on, we actually identified this as a factory-made bowl with a factory cutting. So you never know what you're going to find in Pristine. Okay, 8:23 Les. I think I made 20 minutes here. Questions? Otherwise, the end. Thank you.
It's Linda. One thing I'm disappointed you didn't mention Firenze, because for that etch,
Well,
Pristine
let me talk about Firenze, Linda.
Yeah, thanks.
Cambridge introduced Firenze on Pristine, and as far as I know, it is only on Pristine. But the thing that's interesting about Pristine is as a product line for Cambridge, it was a failure. It did not last long. I personally think it's a great etch, but in the company, it just did not last long because it didn't sell a lot. So if you happen to be a Firenze collector, you have very rare and wonderful pieces of glass. How'd I do?
Sorry. Good. Yeah. I mean, because I've got a Firenze collection, and I think I have one piece, and I can't remember what it is, that it's Firenze on a blank that is not Pristine, but off the top of my head, I don't remember. I think it was a candlestick. But
Okay. But yeah, no, I sorry I didn't mention Firenze, but its claim to fame was that it failed.
Mike, this is Julie.
Yeah,
I
Julie.
noticed that you didn't mention some of the Pristine line had silver bases on them.
Julie, I do not know about the silver bases.
Okay.
I would guess it's like any other Cambridge line that um, a silver house wanted to use.
Mhm.
Can you share with us what you know about
Well,
silver with Pristine?
there's a lot of pieces of Chantilly. Of course, they had a lot of silver bases on the Chantilly. Some are in the Pristine line. I think King Edward might have also some silver bases on some Pristine. Those are the two that come to mind most, obviously, and those are the ones that are most seen. I just wondered if you had any examples or knew of any others. I know, like on you showed the handle with there's an ice pail that has the three-step handle that
Right.
has silver on it. There's a relish that's a two-part that has some silver on it. I know like some of not the cocktail shakers, but there's a couple other pieces that might have silver on it. So I'll have to look through my collection and find out what has, but I
Okay.
know there's a few.
Okay. But I hope what came through is just the magnitude of this line.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I said it in jest that, if you can identify what you have, everything else must be pristine. But I love Pristine. I am probably one of the few crystal pristine collectors. I don't collect it in color. I love the shape so much that I have a collection just of crystal pristine. And it also shows up I have a cuttings collection, and there's a tremendous number of pieces that have cuttings on them. Anything else?
Do you know how many so I mentioned Chantilly. Do you know any other that were, I know, does how many Rose Point or Elaine or any of the other, are you aware of that has quite a bit of pristine, or is it more, we call it round or it's pristine? I'm just trying to get a feel for what other patterns might have had a lot of pristine pieces.
I know I'm certain of Rose Point.
Hmm.
Anybody else want to jump in? Les, Jack, you want to jump in? And David?
Well, they put rose point on everything. So yes, there's going to be a lot of rose point on Pristine. But I would guess a lot of Elaine as well. Jack and Elaine, correct?
No, they actually did not put Elaine on a whole lot of pristine lines. There are some which we're going to hopefully see tonight, but not very many, not near as many as other like Rose Point and some others. So
I do have a funny Rose Point story that my favorite bowl that you saw in green. Um, I was walking through an antique mall and I saw it etched Rose Point. And I thought, well, that seems unusual. I should buy it. So I bought it and I was down in Cambridge sitting around with some Rose Point collectors. And I mentioned that I had this bowl etched Rose Point and I got this quiet and nobody said anything. And I said, well, somebody told me that it's pretty common and it's $100 or something like that. Well, it turns out that was the only Rose Point bowl like that anybody had ever seen. So I do know it came on that bowl.
Well, you'll be glad to know that bowl comes in Chantilly and it's on a sterling base, Mike.
Yeah, the other etch you see on it is daffodil.
Yeah, daffodils a lot.
Well, Mike, I was
So,
wondering how you were going to tackle this topic, and I don't think you could have done a better job. It was really great doing it chronologically.
well, thanks, Les.
It was very clear, and like I say, I was just curious how you were going to handle this, and you did a marvelous job.
Well, I got to tell you, when I figured out what David got me into, I didn't know how I was going to do it either. But I'm glad you appreciated the presentation.
All right. Are there any other questions for Mike before we go to the share portion? Okay. Mike, do you have any pieces that you would like to show in person or you want to wait?
I actually did not bring pieces with me.
Okay.
One of the reasons was there's so many, I don't know where to start. I mean, just the P101 shaker, which is everybody probably knows that piece. Just in cuttings, I probably have 10 of those P101s that are cut. And somewhere I actually have, there's two sizes of that P101. And I have, in just plain crystal, I have a big one and the regular one that you normally see.
Okay.
I turn it over to you, Julie.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike, and thank you so much. This was a wonderful presentation. And I think you've given us more reasons to go to our Cambridge library and also to read back issues of the Crystal Ball, which are always wonderful. So thank you so much for being so thorough and sharing a little bit of your collection there in the Belfast. So that was very nice. It's always, and your big, the big A bowls. That was nice. I don't think I've seen some of those. So it's always good to see those too. So thank you. So since Greg chimed in on the chat box, I hope he's got his pristine bowl with a silver base to share with us right now. So Greg,
Yeah. So I had a question though, like this is called a Pristine 55. Oh, let's turn this off so you can see it. Just a minute. Settings, effects, turn off the blur.
there you
Our kitchen. Lower my hand. Get rid of the settings. Okay. So this, can you see that?
So tilt it so we can see the bottom of it because it almost looks like,
It looks like Gudrun.
yeah, it almost looks like Gadroon without a Gadroon edge.
Well,
so
that is true. But he's correct. That is the
It is a
pristine
pristine.
55. They took the 3500/55, removed the Gudrun edge, and made it the pristine 55. They
Oh,
did that with a number of Cambridge blanks and did that transition. So that's absolutely correct on that.
because I just like we have an Excel sheet with all the stuff that we bought, and I searched it and it was like, oh, that's a pristine. I was like, it doesn't look like a pristine. But then
And I would have never guessed the keyhole candles on a pristine blank, but it is what
no.
it is. Yeah.
but this is
Yes.
the pristine ice bucket that he mentioned in Rose Point.
That's a great piece.
And then you showed this one, but it's not pristine, it's was a linear one. The the
That's a 974, I think.
that you had like that you showed it wasn't pristine, it was going into that line. So
The
it was
round line, is that what
the
you're
round line,
thinking?
yeah. The round line with the metal
And
handle.
it might be part of Decagon as well. There's probably
Mhm.
10
Yeah.
How
sections.
many edges are on the side of that?
That was originally part of the Decagon line back in the 20s, but it's the
10.
3400/851 ice bucket they brought back, I think, in the later part of the 30s, and they etched it with all the popular etchings of the 30s and 40s.
So
It should have 10 sides.
yeah, 10. So that's the pristine and then the round one that we've got. So that's all we got.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing. It's so nice
No
that you could
problem.
share with us. And awesome job on the pristine catalog on the because I looked at it and I always think, oh, that looks like a Gadroon because of the pattern, but
Right.
obviously it's pristine, so that's wonderful. So
Thanks,
thank you.
museum website.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next we'll put on Elaine and then we'll put Gwinnell on deck, please.
Oh,
Okay, there you go.
thank you, Julie. I have first 3 candlesticks. We change glasses here. The single number 510 is the 2 3/4 inch ball. And then the 511 is the 2 light or 2 ball, or some people call it the dumbbell, I think. And then took us a long time to find this one, the 3 light or 3 ball, 8.5 inch, number 512. And then the candy box and cover. Next, I have the 7-inch star candy box and cover.
I just put the lid on the bowl, small bowl.
So they took the 7-inch star candy bowl and then put a lid on it. They made this in moonlight also, but not the bowl.
No.
Or I'm sorry, not the lid. And then they took that same bowl and cut edges in to make it an ashtray. And that's $736. And the number 468, 6.5 inch comport, engraved Cranston. I hope you can see that.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And then my last piece is the 1936/7 5-ounce oyster cocktail engraved Saturn.
Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Thank you.
so Elaine, since you have the dumbbell, I call them the barbell, those
Yes,
are fairly heavy pieces, correct?
yes.
Yes, I think that's the
Uh-huh.
one thing we kind of forget in Pristine. We're so used to seeing those, thinner wall blown pieces. Then all of a sudden in Pristine, we have these fairly thick pieces that are pretty hefty.
Mhm.
What
Right.
what do
And
you
the-
think? What do you think that star with the cover weighs? Just take a wild guess.
I don't know here. What do you think that weighs? And then there's the larger star bowl also.
I don't know. It's a couple of pounds probably.
Jack
was gonna-
thinks a couple of pounds.
I would think
Christine.
I don't know.
I don't know what the star candlestick is, but that's a heavy piece. I'm not sure what line it's in.
Mhm.
The large star candlestick.
Yeah, yeah, we're so used to thinking delicate glassware, and then you come across these few pieces that have
Mhm.
quite a bit of heft to them, and I'm
Mhm.
thinking that could do some damage. So I guess, Jack, you're gonna have to be on good behavior, otherwise that barbell might find another use maybe someday.
No, nothing's going to happen to the barbell.
All right, thanks for sharing, and I love the Starbucks. That is awesome. So good to see both of you this month. Next, we'll go to Gwinnell, and then we'll put the checks on deck, please.
Good evening. We got the 3-part 8-inch relish. And I think the manor cutting on it with the tab handles. And I think this is a Lynbrook cutting. With stickers. There's another sticker somewhere. And stickers on the inside. And then the smaller set,
Mhm.
it's just plain the individual, the same shape. And then the round that got converted into Pristine, the daffodil.
Mhm.
It's kind of hard to see that. But I'm looking for the sugar on that one, for the individual.
Okay.
And then the little bitty, I think the 250 with labels. And there's some others, and I've got one of those big bowls, it just with my arms. And one's got the peg in it for the candle and all that too.
Yeah,
And then the pickle. the Elaine on it. And that's all I brought out.
Oh, thank you. Just for size, I think comparison, could you hold up the individual versus the regular size creamer or the sugar, either one, just so people that aren't as familiar with them can kind of um, see what they kind of look like in size?
Well, these are the two that have the similar shape.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the sizes. And then on the other, the one after they redesigned it, it is about the same, but it's a little smaller and a little shorter with the daffodil on it.
Right, and a little rounder, it actually looks like. The other one looks a little more square in shape.
Yep, and it came out of the round line
Yes.
originally.
Yes.
But
Well,
Cambridge put in all different lines.
oh yeah, they love that. Well, thank you, Gwinnell. We normally see you with all your caprice, so it's nice to see you have a little sideline going on over there. So thank you for sharing as always. It's always a pleasure. So next we're going to put on Mary and Jeff, and we will put Jeff on deck, please.
Okay. So here's Mike's favorite bowl and my favorite color, Crown Tuscan. And another thing I know that Mike and Lisa collect the little after dinner cups and saucers. And this one's an amethyst. I didn't know that was part of the Pristine line. I was shocked when I was going through the website too, and all these things are pristine. I had no idea. There's you can see how well you can see this. There's a Friends cocktail shaker. And we also have it in Blossom Time. And then the oil and vinegar bottle in pink, and I think it's a 739 etch. I know I looked it up before and it was a 730 something. I think it was 739. And this bowl, which would not have thought it was pristine. In fact, when we first saw it, I didn't think it was Cambridge, even though it's got the label. I thought somebody put it on a Duncan Miller blank because that's what it looked like to me, but it's got the base is the star shape. And then we thought that this was pristine, but I'm not sure that it is. It's laurel wreath is the cutting, and I thought by the stem, but I don't the stems have like a thicker foot, I think. And these are faceted, whereas I think maybe on the pristine, they're just smooth. Yeah, like more smoother. So maybe this is not Cambridge. That's it.
Thank you. Does anyone have a comment on the last item she showed with the facets? Any ideas there, Les or David or Jack?
Well, it's not pristine, but I think it might be another Cambridge stemware line. I'd have to get the book out.
I think it's 3139.
I'll look that up.
Are each wafer, is it there a cut in each wafer in the middle?
Yes.
Yes. And it goes from small to big on the wafer sizes?
I guess it does. Yeah. I never noticed that before. I was looking at them as the same size, but I think you're right.
It's like a taper, real narrow, and it kind of spreads out towards the bottom.
So yes, it is Cambridge.
3139, Mike?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And thanks for sharing. And oh, that red bowl is fabulous. I love the color in that.
Yeah, it's really deep.
Yes, and really when you show even the cocktail shakers, you can really see that thickened bottom portion of the shakers. that
Yeah.
make them
Yeah.
so sturdy, where in a lot of the other pieces, when we think of Cambridge again, these have some weight to them, which is kind of
Yeah.
nice.
Oh yeah.
Mary,
Yeah.
were those two cocktail shakers, Mary, were those the larger ones or the smaller ones? Well, I should say the regular size one versus the larger size one. I
I'm
can't
not
tell
sure.
by looking at it. It looks
Uh,
like it's the bigger one. That's why I say.
I think, yeah, I think it is. I think it is the bigger one. It's
Just by the shape, it looks bigger.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
much larger than the P101 and
Right.
whatever the bigger P1.
Yeah.
I think Jeff's got a tape measure. We'll tell you in a second.
The lid off, you want?
Yeah, you can take the lid off, and it measures
11 inches tall.
11
Yeah.
inches.
The 11-inch. Because that other one, Jack, I think is, how tall is the real short one? There's a real short one too.
Yeah, I
That
don't know.
always-
But I don't know how, I don't have a regular one close by that I could measure that, but
Okay.
maybe somebody else does here. So
Okay. Well, thank you. And it's always nice to see the tops that actually go with the shakers as well. So sometimes we see a lot of bottoms, but we don't see the top. So
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you so much. And
Oh, sure.
again, beautiful pieces. Next, I forgot to call someone. So let's put, oh no, I said Jeff. Jeff's on deck, or Jeff's up, and then we're gonna put Les on deck, please.
Hello, everybody. Great program, Mike. I love it. This is great entertainment, great
Thanks.
education. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Because I'm not much of a reader, so the more info I get from you all is better for me. Well, this is my crescent bowl etched Elaine, if I can find the camera. And this is, I guess, part of the round Pristine line in light emerald with the 732 etch. That's a cool piece. Boy, does it glow too. And this is my 6-inch candy box with cover. Kind of a cool little piece. And my other candy box, little 6-inch 3-footed with the rose finial on top. Carmen. And the last one, this awesome little vase. Etched Elaine. Oop, I gotta find the camera. So that's what I got for tonight. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I think so many of us forget about those candy boxes with the rose finials. So can Les or Mike or Jack, did the clear come also with the pink finials as well? Or David? Did it come in the
Yes.
crystal with the pink?
I saw a Chantilly one time with a pink
I
finial.
know. I know where that one is. Okay.
But the pink finial normally comes on light emerald.
Okay.
They must have extended it just for a little while to get into the era of the etchings, but it's probably the rarest rose finial that they made of either crystal or carmine.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so there's 3 colors for those that are on the call. The finials come in clear or pink or rose. So that was nice that Jeff had the rose colored one. And David was kind enough to find me one with a pink finial for my Chantilly. So that's wonderful. So thank you so much. And that piece with the star bottom, the last piece you showed, Jeff, that looks like it's a fairly heavy piece, correct?
It's very heavy. Yep.
With the star bottom.
Yes.
About how tall is that, Jeff? Just
6 inches or so, I believe.
6 inches. Nice
Right
piece.
around in there.
Beautiful.
David might be able to tell you better.
Beautiful piece.
Elaine etched. I love that.
Yes.
Well, I also have one of those Mike's favorite bowls, which I believe is actually daffodil too, but I'm not 100% on that. I only bought it because I love the handles that curved under like that. And I'd never seen one. That was the first one I saw, and the price was cheap, so I picked it up. But
Awesome.
it's great. It holds candy bars. It holds Rice Krispie bars. It's pretty good.
It's an all-purpose
So
dish. I know. I use it
it
for
is.
everything.
It
I use
is.
it at Christmas and put the different colored, um, you know, Christmas balls in it. It looks great. So it's an all-purpose dish. I don't think though we can probably get the museum to rename it Mike's favorite bowl though. So we'll have to work on that.
Maybe.
Maybe. So thank you so much for sharing, Jeff. It's always a pleasure to see you every month. So next we're going to go to Les and then we'll put David on deck, please.
Okay, Julie, here's a piece that is not heavy.
Yes.
It's the apple. And they're just so incredibly fragile. I don't know if the rose point etching is showing up here, but it it has the crystal um, stem on it. But yeah, I don't know if they made many of these, but the survival rate could have been low because when you take the cover off, boy, it's just really thin and would have been really easily damaged. If you had children, it wouldn't have had a prayer of surviving. The next piece, I've just got 6 items. This is the example that Mike showed from it's square shape. Yeah, I would have thought it would have been more the square Cambridge Square line, but it is in the Prestige line. And they made it in ebony when they came out with all of the examples in the night in about 1950. Funny thing with both Carmen and with ebony, those two colors went in and out of production in the Cambridge line, and they came back with ebony. This comes in 3 sizes. I've got the 3 sizes, and just kind of a nice decorative piece. The next piece is the same covered candy that Jeff just showed, but this has the decoration by Charlton. It's got the Charlton label on the bottom. And this decoration, as far as I know, in the Palmer book, in the ads, there's not a name for it, but they referred to it as the dappled decoration. And of all the Charlton decorations, on crystal at least, this is my favorite. They made a decanter, and I've had chances to buy the decanter, but it always has had wear, especially on the gold. So to find it without wear of some sort, either on the dappling or on the gold decoration, is rather hard. But I just think it's a very striking decoration. I've got a pair of candlesticks too. And of course, this shape of candlestick was in the Cambridge line for a very long period of time. It is the base for Cambridge arms, but it ended up being used as a base for some of the examples that Mike showed earlier. So again, this dappled decoration. And yet another Charlton decoration on that same candlestick. Now this had a name, the Charlton decoration. It wasn't the Charlton Company. It was Abels, Wasserberg and Company from New York City that bought the Cambridge blanks and then decorated them with enamels. They did a lot of Crown Tuscan, some milk, but especially a lot of crystal as well. Now, this particular decoration, the company, Abels, Wasserberg and Company, invested a lot of financial investment in a decorator to design this line. And it's mostly on Cambridge Square. And the company donated the full line to the Corning Museum, and it's on display in the Corning Museum. So now most of you would look at this and say, is that an attractive decoration? It was called Wicker and Black, which is descriptive. It's wicker and black. And it seems like, well, all these straight lines and then the curved lines, it would have been very difficult to apply. But yeah, so I don't know if it sold well because you don't see it very often. But they made a substantial investment in a designer to come up with this pattern. The last piece I've got, I think, is really unique. I don't really collect pristine per se, but I like unique pieces. So this is a cigarette box in Ebon. but it's got the talisman rose, gold decoration on it. And of course, that's almost exclusively on crystal. For it to show up on a cigarette box in ebon is rather unique. And I just like it a lot. And ebon, normally you've got either the stars or the birds. So this is something different as far as an ebon gold decoration. Thank you.
Beautiful,
Thank
beautiful
you, Julie.
pieces. Yes, we forget about those cigarette boxes sometimes in Pristine. So thank you for sharing such a variety of items, Les, and also showing the decoration. We forget about a lot of these lines went out of house, were decorated, and then sold. We kind of forget, Charlton is the most famous we always think about, but we kind of forget about the Wasserman group up there. So thank you for sharing those.
Well, and then a lot went to Lotus
Yes,
nearby
Lotus.
in Barnesville, as well as the Wheeling Decorating Company.
Absolutely. And I think it's always good that we see all these examples because now when we're out shopping, as we all like to do, oh, look, Jonathan put something in the chat talking about glasscollection.org and showing wicker. So thank you for sharing that with us, Jonathan.
That's from the Corning. Those are the pieces of the Corning Museum.
Oh, thank you. See, everybody's so technologically adept here. So thank you, Jonathan.
I have a question for Les, Julie.
Yes.
Les, the cigarette box with the talisman rose on it, is that the only piece known to mankind?
I don't know, Mike. They seldom made one of anything, so I'm guessing there's more out there, but I haven't seen another one, if that's what you're asking.
I'm just kind of stunned by that piece. I've never seen it.
I've also got the same blank in just ebony, shiny ebony,
Right.
with the wood lily gold decoration on it, and I love that piece as well. So they make a nice pair on display.
Yeah, I've just never seen the talisman rose on any color for that matter.
Yeah, other than crystal. I agree.
Now we're on a hunt. So thank you for sharing. And again, kind of coming back, it's always nice to see how these were decorated in so many different ways. You could hold up that candlestick like you held up with the wicker and look at it and see it with, different kinds of designs, different etch, different cutting. It's always nice to see how they really extended those lines across Cambridge. It wasn't just one thing. So great. And thank you so much. Very, very nice, Les. Next, we're going to go to David. And if anybody has some glass to show, just put it in the chat and we'll add you to the end.
Thank you, Julie. I don't have a lot of Pristine, but as Mike said, I looked around and if I couldn't identify it, I thought it must be Pristine. So I did double check though before I bought it. I don't collect a lot of cuttings, but I do like this particular piece. The Broadmoor cutting is outstanding. It's one of the best, my favorite anyway. So this is a Pristine vase. You see the flip vase quite often with the etchings on it, but the Pristine flip vase will have the extra thick, probably a good ½ inch sham in the bottom, or typically the ones you see in Rose Point or Wildflower have a very thin bottom to them. So similar shape, just they would add the extra weight in the bottom of the vase to give it that pristine feel. So this is what they call a flip vase. It's probably 8½ inches or 7½ inches tall with the Broadmoor cutting. A similar piece, it's the what I call the cocktail shaker vase. It looks like the Pristine cocktail shaker that's out there that's been shared this evening, but it too has the Broadmoor cutting on it. And the Broadmoor cutting does have a frosted portion here. I don't know if it's acid frosted or they used a wheel to etch that, but it does have a slightly different look than an acid finish, but really cool piece. This was the first cut piece I ever purchased. This was down in Sevierville, down in Tennessee, near Gatlinburg.
David, if you bring out one more piece of cut Broadmoor, we're going to cut you off.
Well, I hate to do this to you, Mike. You're going to have to tell. This is not technically this is not Broadmoor. It is the blank for Broadmoor, but I've seen a couple of these over the years they would put people's names in where the frosted portion is. And I may have shown this before somewhere. This has the person who purchased the Cambridge Glass Company after it closed the first time in 1955. His name was Sidney Albert. He lived up in the Akron area. Sidney and his wife's name was Estelle. And when I went to their daughter's home, this was sitting in the cabinet, and I asked them if I could buy it, and they said yes. And they had never noticed over all those years that there were names engraved on the cocktail shaker. Unfortunately, though, they misspelled Sydney's name. They spelled it S-I, and it was S-Y. So clearly, the person that cut this did not know the owner of the company very well to misspell his name and actually present this to the family. So those are the heavy pieces. And Les showed this a little bit ago, the apple, which is a much more delicate piece. This one is not etched rose point. This is the very common blossom time one. In comparison, it seems like blossom time does show up a lot more often than the other etchings on the apple. I don't know why, but that was a fun find. And the last piece is the ivy ball. And they made these, I've seen them for sure in rose point, and there's probably, I think there's a wildflower one out there somewhere, but this one happens to be etched Chantilly. So it is kind of unique how we think of the Pristine line as being very heavy, very durable, but they also had these very delicate pieces in the line as well. So Julie, that's all I have this evening to share.
Well, thank you, David. And probably that engraver might have gotten fired had he misspelled the guy's name. So, oh well, but beautiful pieces. Those Broadmoor pieces are outstanding. So thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. I appreciate it very much. And we did have a few people chime in the chat. So we're going to put Scott and Kathy, and then we are going to put Greg on deck. And after Greg, we'll have Jack. So Scott and Kathy, let's see what you've got to share with us tonight.
Okay. Well, some of them were kind of been seen before, but just a little different. It's the cocktail shaker, but the reason I'm showing it is because it's got the magnolia etching on it, which is
beautiful.
We just don't run into the magnolia very often. And Kathy wanted everybody to see this. She has a pair of them. Oops. And that's what they look like when you put acrylic candles in them. And then the 306 candy box. It's been shown. Oh dear. Let's see here. Oh, this is not going to work, I guess. It's a Charlton etching that is just circles.
Yes. There it is.
Not etching.
Enamel.
Enamel, thank you. Well, I don't know why. Okay.
That's a hard piece to show just because of the way it looks.
And that's the harvest etching on just a plain old bowl, right, Mike?
Just plain old bowl. Happens to be my favorite bowl, but
and the ashtray set. And it's the gold crystal. Boy, I'm gonna have to clean my screen or something here, I think.
Yes, please.
And the last thing I'm going to show, no, Kathy said I have to show more, is the salt and pepper in ebony.
Wow.
Cute.
Yeah. And then it's number 502 nut cups. Cute little boogers.
Those are pretty rare, Scott.
Are they? Okay.
Yes.
And then the ice bucket and swirl. Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
job, Mike.
So a quick question, going back to the candles that you had with the prisms. What shape are those prisms? The regular shape, they looked a little odd in there, but they are cut right at the bottom.
Right. Yeah, there's a
little cut on them.
yeah,
Okay.
I have options for the prisms and I
Ah.
change them out color wise or size wise.
Okay.
so
Well,
these may not be original.
hey, it's a woman's prerogative to decorate how she would like. So it's all good.
They had different ones on there at Christmas time.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing those ebony little pieces of salt and pepper were just adorable. I love those in the nut cups. Those are wonderful pieces.
Thank you.
So next we're going to go back to Greg because Greg pulled more out of his collection for us.
Searching the website and it was like, well,
that's
this
all
is
right.
pristine and this is pristine.
Well,
and I was like,
it's all good.
So found this Pristine 477. Oh wait, no, this one. This is the Pristine 477, the corn dish.
Yes.
In Rose Point. I can see
there you go. If you hold it a little closer to you, it doesn't blur. There you go. Yes, the corn dish.
The corn dish. And then this Pristine 19 Mayo set in Rose Point. And then the Pristine 747 cigarette box in Rose Point. There you go. It's a cute little box. And then lastly, our favorite bowl, Pristine 427 salad bowl with Wallace silver.
Beautiful piece.
That's that.
Oh, well, we're glad you raided the cabinet again.
Really?
It's always good to see these other little pieces. And I think what you showed on the basically the dressing bowl, a lot of times we don't think of it, but there's a little bit smaller piece, not the salad bowl, the dressing bowl. The dressing, there's also, I always think of that too, is there's some grapefruits that look very similar to that are a little bit smaller, but they're kind of hard to find sometimes.
There's these, this is an icer?
Icer, yep, the icers.
That's not pristine, supposedly. Right?
I don't believe so. I think it's in another line.
It's not pristine, but you have the very nice decagon inserts.
Yes.
Those are tough to find.
I think we have like 4 of these.
Yeah, you want to hang on to those.
Don't break those. Don't break those. Wonderful. Well, thank you. We're glad you got back into the cabinet there. It's always good. Thank you so much, Greg. Next, we're going to go to Jack, and Mike has decided to go back into his archives and pull out a couple of pieces to show us as well. So Jack, and then Mike, please.
Okay, Julie, I normally I'd like to just hold these up, but I'd like to share screen if I could.
Okay, just ask me to share, and then I should be able to share it for you.
Okay, which I can. Let's see.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, great. Let me put this on full screen.
I just don't know why you didn't want to hold that one up, Jack.
Okay, yeah, this is there's some that I didn't even want to get out of the case either, but this is one that's kind of a special one. This is the 420 buffet supper set. It's an 18-inch plate, and then it's got the 5-part relish, and then there's 2 ways they showed this. One with this little mayo bowl, which is not uncommon, and then there's another footed mayo that they would put in here too. But this is one of those, when we first started collecting in like 2 years later, this showed up on eBay, and it's like, whoa, and it was kind of expensive, but we said, oh, okay, we better get this. And we've never seen another one. Now, I should say we've never seen another set, or we've never seen another of the 18-inch plates. There is the 5-part relish. There is one of those in the museum. And again, the little mayo in the center is not uncommon. So, but so that's one of those where you just kind of react at the time, and you never know till much years later. And again, it's just a really cool set. So, but being 18 inches, it doesn't fit in all cases. So it has to have a special spot that it can fit in. So.
Jack, that middle piece, the relish, it looks like they didn't put the etch, they only put the etching on the sides, so the etching on the plate on the bottom could show through.
No, the plate is etched on the bottom.
Oh,
The relish is.
is it? Okay.
Yeah,
But
I'm pretty
just
sure anyway. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I'll have to look. So,
Okay. It
but
uh-huh.
looks like
just with
it's
the swirl maybe, and not the floral portion of the pattern.
I don't know.
Blank and then
The middle in the center is not etched, but I believe the plate is. We'll look and I can run down and look at that before we go, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay.
it's
Um,
gorgeous.
Yeah.
But one of the things I just thought this was interesting, and to talk about, there were two celeries in the Pristine line, and the one that was the late one kind of morphed from Tink. So the one up at the top was the number 652 celery, and that came out. Now that wasn't a pristine one. That came out in the 1920s. It was cut, had some etchings on it, etc. And then it disappeared and was reinvented with the 3500 line introduction in 1933 as the 3500/62. And all they did, it's the exact same blank. All they did was add the pie crust edge to it. It's the exact same piece. And then that was in the line through into the 40s. And then in the late 40s, they took the pie crust edge off and made it the pristine 248. So again, all three of these blanks are identical, but only the 3500 one had the pie crust edge. So it's just kind of an interesting little treatise how blanks morphed. Oh, what's Greg showing one? Yeah. Uh-huh. Right. So
So
um,
Jack, I noticed between the 3500 and the 248 that they also did not etch the bottom of the bottom either. So was
Now, in
that
this
just a big
particular, yeah, in this particular, that's a good observation. And when we first got that, I was wondering about that if they were consistent. I have seen the 248 etched on the bottom. Now, I have seen them both ways. I don't know about that. What's the story in it? All I know is Greg, is yours etched on the bottom?
Well, mine's the 3562 and it's etched
Oh,
on the
yours the
bottom.
3500 one? Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, but I have seen the pristine one etched on the bottom. And so, but I don't know what Cambridge was up to in those, but that was a good observation. Yeah. And so this is the original pristine celery. It's the more traditional look. It's oval, it's clean lines and everything. And this one happens to be cut King Edward. So I just thought it was interesting to look at the celeries. Um, when Mike said he's going to do this program, it's like I had a rough time deciding what to show because there are just a ton of really cool candlesticks in the Pristine line. I mean, some really neat ones, all pretty much Art Deco looking, and they just ooze it. And I really like that. I think I've shown these before, but these are probably one of my most favorite pair of candlesticks in our collection. We've got a lot of different pristine candlesticks, but this one, the 504s, and this we talk about. You guys have talked about, you know, large, heavy glass versus thin. These are large and heavy, surprisingly so. I had never seen a pair of these until these showed up at Glass Dash one year, and I couldn't believe I picked one up, and it was just a heavy piece of glass. So, but they're really cool. The other thing I wanted to show, because since I saw Mike was showing this catalog page, And I had shown, I think, these in the Two Light program when I did that here earlier. The image on the left is the 518, the only catalog image of the 518. And it was morphed from the earlier Tally-Ho two-light candlestick. And then this Pristine one was only produced probably a year at most. And then it was immediately then morphed into the Virginian two-light candlestick. But why I'm showing this is notice the base. The base on the catalog image is square. In fact, this is identical to the Tally-Ho candlestick with there was used to be a finial in the center right up above there, and they took that off. Otherwise, it's the exact same candelabrum. Has that rectangular base. I don't know. I've never seen this image before. In fact, I throw it out there. If anybody has seen this, we'd certainly like to. I'd certainly like to know about it because it's to me, it's nobody I've ever talked to has ever seen this before. The one on the right, which is rare, is the one that has been seen. And notice they put a diamond base on it, and it's the only candelabra that they put the diamond Beaubouchers on too as well. So I just want to throw that out there because if somebody has seen this, we'd certainly like to know. It'd be very interesting. Of course, why they put the catalog image in it and not produce it is they had to produce it, I would think. So anyway, a lot of things. Mike just had a great program. It's just all the cuttings that they did on the Pristine line, and they did some really nice ones. And so I just picked one, and this is Fantasy. This came out in the 35-37 catalog, right during the eruption of all kinds of different cuttings, etc. And this is really a cool one. Part of the cutting is left gray and part of it is polished as well. So it's a beautiful cutting. Table architecture. This is not, well, the sticks are shown in that catalog. The bowl is the 455 bowl. It's not shown on that catalog, but this actually is shown in a promotional brochure that they did. And but this was a special thing that we got from some friends, and it's always prominent in our collection. It's a cool piece, or a cool set, I should say. Two things I wanted to show. So people got these. Les showed one, David showed one, and I'm going to show ours. But this is one of two pieces that I just do not like to handle. It is so it's so thin. But this has the Carmen handle on it, and it's the only Elaine one we've ever seen, and so it's a prized piece in our collection. And the last piece, which I also do not like to handle, is this is my favorite bowl. This is actually not only my favorite bowl, this is my favorite blank that Cambridge ever produced. It's the 225 bowl. And what makes this so special, it's a divided bowl, but when Cambridge normally did divided bowls, they would have a solid piece of glass, use a plunger, and just press it right down into the bowl. In this case, that's a hollow divider. So the only connection is up on the top. It's hollow down the center and out the bottom. So this was a thin blown bowl. It's all one piece. And most of these didn't survive. You see many of these where right at the corners on each end of the divider, there's cracks. And I've seen a number of pieces there. Interestingly enough, too, in the price list for this bowl, they also showed that it was available with cuttings on it, including King Edward. Nobody that I know have ever seen this bowl cut, nor can't imagine how they could cut it and keep it intact. I don't really know. That's interesting. Maybe one remains to be seen. I don't know. So, but anyway, so this is my actual favorite piece. Yeah, this is Jack's favorite. So, and that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jack. And yes, that Number 225 bowls, extremely fragile. I don't handle mine either in Chantilly. I just don't. It's like you said, it's one of those pieces that you love it, but you don't want to handle it because you're so afraid to chip it or crack it or whatever. And it is extremely, extremely fragile. So thank you for showing the table architecture. There were so many wonderful pieces that you were able to share with us. So thank you so very, very much for that. Really lovely. Okay, Mike, since you started us off on this program, we're going to end with you to see your last couple of pieces here.
Well, I thought I had something that was unique, but Jack cut in line in front of me. But I had the candy box. This is just a plain pristine apple, and it had the red stem. So if anybody has one of these, they're not collectible or anything else, just give me a call and I'll be glad to take it off your hands. I've also seen this with a green stem. And many, many years ago at the Cambridge show, there was a green stem etched rose point.
Wow.
And I don't know where it went. I don't know. It was certainly out of my price range. But anyway, I just love these apples. I guess David and Jack do too. And I thought I was going to show a piece that would be rare and the only one known to mankind, but I think I've seen some other ones here tonight that I've never seen before. But this one I can assure you is the only one that exists. And this is a pristine bowl. And the etching on it, let me see if I get my shirt shows it better. The etching is India tree. And the only this is the only one India tree piece that we've ever seen. I knew I had something good when our collector friend Frank Wallenhop, I showed it to him during a program, and he said he gave me the ultimate compliment. He said, "Well, where'd you find that?" So anyway, I'm gonna close with that piece. It's a pristine bowl etched India tree.
Oh, lovely. I have never seen that. So
Where
that is a
did you
lovely
find it,
piece.
though? Where
Yes, the
did you
question
find it?
is, where did you find it?
Believe it or not, it was on eBay and I was the only bidder.
Ah,
It was many, many years ago, but I just thought, well, that's kind of unique. I should probably pull that in out of the wild.
yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a beautiful piece. So thank you for sharing. And again, those apple boxes they're very, very fragile. I have a bottom to a Chantilly one, but I'm looking for a top. So if anyone sees one, I'm in the market. So thank you again to everyone that was able to show so many pieces tonight and such a wide variety, which is always, always wonderful. One person asked, is India Tree a Cambridge etch or the Duncan Miller one on a Cambridge bowl?
It is a Cambridge etch. And
Okay.
at one point for the Sunday afternoon study group, I did a presentation on the India tree etch, and that's the only thing I had to show. So I went into what an India tree was and everything else and danced around for a little bit and said, well, here's the bowl. That's all I got.
Oh, we've got Greg is saying he has a few items to show. So Greg, you're under the wire here because we're probably going to close this off at 9:30.
No, I think
So
Mark.
Greg,
That was
Mark, well, Mark is Greg usually. So
Yeah, Greg is Mark. Mark is
Greg
Greg.
is Mark. Mark is Greg. So Greg, chime in. You're our last guy for the night. You made it in under the wire.
Okay. Well, that's better than not at all. Well, just in a salute to spring. Spring means daffodils. And the daffodil line was introduced in like 1950, 51, I believe. And they depended pretty heavily on the pristine and round line for just about everything in the daffodil line. So, Mike, I think this is a pristine item. You don't see this very often in daffodil. It's a three-part relish with kind of a two-tiered handle, not three, but like two little steps here on the rim. And
It is
then
pristine.
because
It is pristine.
Okay, I thought so. I wasn't sure. There was a lot of round line in daffodil and a few pristine items. But since we just can't get enough of this bowl,
Yes.
we just can't get enough of this bowl. Here it is in gold encrusted daffodil. And something I really didn't notice until right now is they stopped decorating the gold right where you would pick it up, which is pretty clever because you don't really want gold right there where you're gonna pick it up. So anyway, and Mike, I have seen this bowl in the larger size one time many years ago, and it was clear. It was not in good shape, so I didn't purchase it. And it had initials on the side. So that's the only time I've ever seen that larger size in this bowl. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad you chimed in. It wouldn't be right unless we ended with one more Mike's Bowls. So, but again, it just shows how they extend the line. And here, golden crusted daffodil, so beautiful piece. And I've never noticed that they stopped actually the etch right there at the handle, Greg. That's a good catch right there. So thank you for chiming in at the last minute. And again, thank you to everyone that shares. This has been wonderful tonight. I did notice as we were finishing up here that we have a couple of things in the chat box that talks about the India tree. That was really nice. Jonathan posted it for us. So you can go to the chat box and see there's some links to some things from Jonathan. So thank you, Jonathan, for doing that. And other than that,
Julie,
yes.
if I could, this is for what Les's question about the buffet supper set. I went down and looked at it real quick. The plate, the big 18-inch plate, is etched around the rim, but not in the center. The relish 5-part in the middle is completely etched all along the bottom. So it's the plate that's not etched in the center. So what you saw there was actually on the relish itself. I didn't realize that. I had to go look at it. So thanks for pointing that out. So.
Hey, Jack,
Yes.
is the relish etched on the sides or just the bottom?
Just the bottom.
No, it's not too.
It almost looked like it was on the sides as well. So just
Well,
the
maybe
bottom.
it was a little bit. I wasn't. Do I need to go back down there and look again? I was paying attention to the bottom more than the side.
Oh, okay.
Focus,
okay.
Jack, focus.
And Jack,
could you please run down and look? I am real curious now.
And if you're going to go down, bring that 18-inch plate with the center piece in it.
Yeah. Well, Jack, next time you know when you go down, you better be thorough when you're looking at it. So what can we say? We're just giving you a good ribbing. So now I'm going to turn it back over to David so David can close this out. But before David closes, I just want to mention one thing. We do have convention coming up in June. It will be Salute to the Red, White, and Blue. So we hope everyone will be wearing some red, white, and blue on our Friday evening dinner. It's going to be Americana type of theme. So, it's probably not going to require a, coat and tie or anything like that. It'll be more of a casual event since it's so close to the 4th of July this year. It's actually 1 week prior. So we hope you'll keep us in mind coming down to see us in Cambridge, Ohio, right before the 4th of July and celebrating our country's 250th birthday. So with that, I'm back over to David, please.
Thank you, Julie. First of all, I want to thank Mike Strebler for doing a great program.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike, for always coming through when I request you to lead a program. Secondly, we are going to have a program in April, and that program is going to be led by Greg Vass and his assistant, which would be myself. So we're going to be doing ice buckets, ice pails, and ice tubs. So you can start looking through your cabinets for things that fit that description. So look forward to that next in April on our second Tuesday as normal. Also, I'm going to put my other hat on. In approximately a week and a half, we are going to have the NCC annual benefit auction. Some of you have probably looked online and have seen that the online bidding has started through either the Apple Tree website or Auction Zip or Invaluable. And it's always exciting to see all the activity that's going on with the consigned items. We will have in-person bidding on Saturday, March 21st, starting at 10 a.m. And if you're waiting to bid at the last minute, make sure you are logged in, registered, and ready to go at 10 a.m. on Saturday, March 21st if you're planning to bid online. So there is a little bit of a process. Do want to get registered to bid, and then you'll have to uh, register a kind of a second time to actually bid on the auction itself. So you have to get an account and then you have to register to bid, which is a very simple process. So if you are bidding online, make sure you have all that taken care of ahead of time. If you are planning to come down and bid in person, we are having an open house at the museum on Friday evening starting at 6 p.m. It'll run from about 6 p.m. to about 9 p.m. or whenever we get done doing whatever we're going to be doing that night. So hopefully, if you are able to join us in person, you're able to join us at the museum around 6 p.m. on Friday. So a lot going on in NCC right now. So Julie, that's all I have so far or this evening, and I look forward to seeing you again here in about approximately a month if you're not able to make it to the auction.
Well, thank you, David. And again, thank you again, Mike. That was a wonderful presentation. Everyone will, I'm sure, be watching this again because I certainly learned a tremendous amount and also enjoyed all the pieces that were shown. So again, we look forward to seeing everyone next month. And hopefully everyone will be pulling out their ice pails, buckets, and everything else that we were mentioning previously. And we'll look forward to seeing Greg and David do a wonderful presentation for us. So in the meantime, everyone stay safe, enjoy your time, and go find some more glass out there that we can share online. So thank you and have a wonderful evening.